In this video, we're going to learn about a few built-in array methods that every single array comes with that are going to make arrays even more useful for us. There are 6 methods that we're going to cover here. 2 of them are paired together, so push and pop are a pair, and then shift and unshift are also a pair. And then we're going to talk about index of and slice. So before I actually dive into that, I want to show you on MDN, Mozilla Developer Network, on the page for array, on the left-hand side, you can see a methods section. And these are all of the built-in methods that every array comes with. We're only going to cover 6 of these, but they're the 6 most important. There's quite a few that you'll most likely never need to use, though there are some that we will be covering in future videos. So I just want to show that you can see them all here, and then if you wanted to learn about one, like slice, you could open it up. There's a great explanation, and there are also examples at the bottom of the page. So let's go back to our slides, and let's start by talking about push and pop. So what we saw last time was that if we make an array like colors, and I give it 3 colors, red, orange, and yellow, and if I want to add a 4th color, green, I first need to figure out what index to add it at. So I would count 0, 1, 2, so then I would know the next index would be 3. So I could write colors 3 equals green. And this isn't great because I have to keep counting, or I have to keep track of that number. So if I want to add blue, I now have to figure out how many items are in the array. So there's 4, so I know I need to do colors of 4 equals blue. There's a built-in method, however, that makes this much easier. This is something that we do a lot, which is push into an array. So push refers to adding something to the very end of an array. In this example, you can see we also have a colors array, and to push into it, to add green to the very end, we write colors.push, and then in parentheses, we pass in green. So I'll try it out here, colors.push, and I'm going to add in indigo to the end. And just like the functions that we've written ourselves, we need to put parentheses to actually call push. And then we pass in indigo as an argument. And if I hit enter now, and I look at colors, you'll see that indigo has been added to the end. And I didn't even have to specify which index to add it to. Push always knows where the end of the array is, and it adds whatever we pass in to the very end. Push also returns the length of the array after your new element has been added in. So you can see this returns 6, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. So I'll push one more time, colors.push, and I'll do violet, and you'll see it returns 7. So we can use that occasionally if we want to save that value in a variable. Next up is the sister method of push, which is pop. So pop does the opposite in that it removes the last element in an array. So I'll show you how we use it. It doesn't take any arguments. We just write colors.pop. And if I hit enter here, you'll see 2 things. One, it returns to me the last item in the array, which was violet. And if I look at colors, it now doesn't have violet. So we use pop a lot to remove things from an array and then do something with them. So push takes one argument and will add to the end of an array and return the length of that array. And pop takes no argument and it returns the last item in the array that it removes. Next up, we have shift and unshift. And these are a pair just like push and pop, and they work very similarly, except rather than adding and removing to the end of the array, they add and remove from the beginning of the array. If you're curious about where the names shift and unshift or push and pop originate from, they come from these data structures called stacks and queues that exist in other programming languages. So they're sort of just leftovers. They exist mainly because they've been used for a long time in other programming languages. So as I mentioned, shift and unshift are the opposite of push and pop. So we can use unshift to add to the front of an array. And I think that it's confusing that it's called unshift when you're actually adding something, but that's just how it is. So you can see an example here. If I wanted to add infrared to the beginning of the array, I could use colors.unshift infrared, and that will add it to the beginning. Then I also have shift, which removes the first item in an array and it returns that item. So you can see I have colors, and if I wanted to remove red, I would do colors.shift with parentheses and no arguments, and that will remove the first element red, so you can see we end up with orange and yellow. And if we did it again, colors.shift, it would remove orange. And remember that it returns the removed element, so I could store it in a variable like I do here. So let's do a quick example. We'll make an array of numbers, and we'll just do 34, 54, 22. And if I want to add a number to the beginning, I do nums.unshift in parentheses, and I'm actually going to do a string. And that will add to the beginning of nums, hello. Then if I want to remove hello, I can just write nums.shift with parentheses, and that returns hello. And if I look at nums, it's back to being just numbers. So the next method is called index of. What index of does is it takes an argument, like a string or a number, and it tries to find that argument in a given array. And if it finds it, it will return the index where it's found. I have an example here of a friends array, and in this array I have 5 different friends: Charlie, Liz, David, Matthias, and another Liz. If I wanted to know where David is located in this array, I can write friends.index of David, and I need to make sure that it matches exactly. It's going to go and find the string in the array, which is the third item, with index of 2, so it returns 2. If I try it on Liz, however, it's going to return the first instance of Liz. So there are 2, it's going to return this one, and that has an index of 1, not this one, which has an index of 4. So we can also use index of to determine if an element is not present in an array. And to do that, we just check to see if index of returns -1. That's how it behaves if it doesn't find the given argument. So let me give you an example. Let's go back to colors. We have red, orange, and yellow. And then I'm going to get rid of this so we can't see. And I want to know if orange is located somewhere in my array, and if so, where is it? So I'll just write colors.index of yellow. And it tells me it's at index 2, so I could access it by doing index colors index 2. Whoops. And I get yellow. If I wanted to know if green was in my array, I could do the same thing, colors.index of green, and I get -1, which tells me it's not present. The last method that I want to talk about is called slice. We use slice to copy different portions of an array. So I have an example of fruits here, an array with banana, orange, lemon, apple, and mango. And if I wanted to copy the citruses out of here, only orange and lemon, and I wanted to make a new array with just orange and lemon, I could use slice. So you can see here, fruits.slice, and slice takes 2 arguments. The first one is the starting index. It's where the cut begins, so at index 1, right here, orange. And then the second argument is where the slice should stop, which is at apple, and it's not inclusive. So it includes orange and lemon, but not the last index of 3, so it leaves apple in this array. So when we run this, citrus is actually going to be a new array that looks like this: orange and lemon, 2 items. And it's also important to note that the original array fruits is unaltered, so it still contains orange and lemon. We can also use slice to copy an entire array. To do that, we just don't pass in any starting and endpoints. We just do nums.slice with empty parentheses, and that duplicates the entire array. So again, I'll do a quick example. We'll make an array. This time, let's do nums, and I'm going to put some numbers in here. And I accidentally put a letter or 2 in there as well, and then a few more numbers. So I look at nums, and if I want to extract A and B and make a new array called letters, I would do var letters equals, and then I'm going to do nums.slice, and then I need to provide two indices. The first one is where to make the first cut, so that is 0, 1, 2, 3, index of 3, and then where to stop, which is at this number here, so that's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we look at letters, we get A and B, two items in an array. So that was returned and stored in the letters variable, while nums is unchanged. Okay, so those are the 6 different methods that I wanted to show. We had push and pop, we had shift and unshift, index of, and slice.